Hey everybody, this is Dwight Peters from QuarterWaters.com, the site for social entrepreneurs. Where social entrepreneurs come on the program, they talk about the issue they're tackling, the impact they're making, and share helpful business tips along the way. If you're watching this program, it's because you want to change the world through the power of business. You came to the right spot. Now, in today's program, we have with us the founder of Della, Tina Tangalakis. She's going to talk about how she got started, the impact she's making, some of the challenges that she faced, and just share some great tips for any aspiring social entrepreneur. We're going to find out what motivated her, what keeps her going, and why passion plays a big role in what you're trying to accomplish. The reason why I'm wearing this hoodie today is because this episode is in memory of Trayvon Martin. That was a young child that was shot down in Florida. Our prayers go out to his family. All right, guys and gals, enjoy the program. Thanks. Tina, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks a lot.
Did that really sum you up? Life-changing MacBook cases?
Yeah, well, actually, right now, one of our best sellers is MacBook cases, but we actually have a whole line of accessories. It started out with a classic hobo style bag, and we kind of branched out from there. But MacBook cases is one of my personal favorites, and it's a favorite with a lot of our customers as well.
Awesome. All right, so tell our viewers, what is Della LA? Is it just Della, or is it
Well,
Della
it's
LA?
it's it's just Della. A lot of people refer to it as Della LA. Della LA is our website. Della is the name of the company that I started 2.5 years ago when I went to Ghana. I went to go volunteer, and while I was out there, I had this idea that just hit me, and I ran with it. But Della, we have right now 16 full-time employees in Ghana that are steadily working. They get a fair wages. We give them actually now I think it's weekly classes in money management, literacy skills. We have programs in place so that they can teach one another the skills and they can get better at their own personal skill training, because making products for the American market is a lot different than making products for the Ghanaian market.
Definitely.
And we also give back to an orphanage and have a sewing program with an orphanage where we teach the kids on a weekly basis sewing skills as well.
All right. See, if you see me looking away from the screen, I'm
Mhm.
totally paying attention to you. Like I'm pulling up your website. I'm trying to get, everything about it. And
Oh,
one of the cool things on your website is that it says, Della is committed to the long-term success of our community, working to build a foundation for economic independence.
mhm.
Before we even get into that, how did you come up with the name Della? What's the story behind that?
That's a cool question. Not many people ask. So when I started the company, I knew I wanted to go in the direction of fashion because my background is actually in fashion.
All right.
But I wanted it to be a name that connected us with Ghana, but that wasn't overly ethnic, that it would pigeonhole the business and not have people take it seriously as a fashion company. I thought about it a lot, and Della actually is the name of the first person I met off the plane when I arrived in Ghana, and he was the driver for the volunteer organization I worked with. He has the warmest smile, kindest heart, and I just thought the overall essence of the type of person he is, I was great, and I wanted it to reflect through the company.
That's awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what inspired you to start this? 2 years ago, you were into fashion. I'm assuming you could have went any other route. Why this? How did you get involved?
Well, I feel like everything in my life pretty much has led up to this. I went to California Institute of the Arts for costume design. I worked very successfully as a costume designer and wardrobe stylist for a few years. At the end of the day, yes, you were getting paid a lot of money, but suddenly I realized, like, wait a minute, my biggest concern is like finding the right pair of pants or the right color socks. Like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
So I stopped and I actually started volunteering. And while I volunteered, I also did freelance design, making jewelry, and then for a belt company that manufactures in China and distributes over in the US. So I was able to work really closely with the family that manufactured in China, and I kind of saw how everything was done.
Yeah.
Yet when I went to Ghana, I had no idea this would happen. I actually just went out a personal trip to go volunteer for a month. And while I was out there, the first week you walk down the streets and they have, little wooden or cement shacks with these gorgeous textiles. And then another little building structure with a lady, a sewing machine, and she's just waiting for work.
Yeah.
And so, my creative juices started flowing, and I designed the perfect bag to bring home as a souvenir. I commissioned the seamstress to make about 4. As soon as I saw them, it hit me. I thought, wait, I could see these being sold in Nordstrom or Anthropologie, or like, wait a minute, the belt company manufactures in China. They need jobs here. Why don't I manufacture here?
Yeah.
And I just went for it. I think the volunteers thought I was crazy, but I bought enough fabric to make 50 more bags. I brought them all back after my volunteer trip, sold them within 2 weeks, and pretty much hit the ground running.
So what were your startup costs? Okay, so you got the 50 bags, but to really make this something that's going to last and sustainable, I'm assuming you bootstrapped this. What were your startup costs?
Well, it increased a lot as time went on. However, the first, after I sold the 50 bags, I pretty much called a friend I had made out there, and he kept calling me constantly. He knew about the business, and he's like, when are you going to make more? When are you going to do this business? Like, what's going on? And finally, 2 weeks in, after I sold all the bags, I said, all right, that's it. Like, buy 100 more yards of fabric. Let's make 100 more bags, ship them to me, and let's see what happens.
And how much were you selling the bags for?
At the time, I think the wholesale price was probably between $20 to $25.
All right. And
Something like that.
how much were you getting them for?
Um, I mean, the total cost to make them and the cost of fabric since I started 2.5 years ago,
Has
unfortunately, has gone up
significantly risen.
immensely.
Yeah.
I think maybe originally I'd say $6 to $7
All right.
per bag, but shipping is
Yeah.
crazy, and shipping probably adds another $4 to $5 per product.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the time I do get emails and people go, oh, well, you could buy this for $2. And it's like, no, first of all, you can't. And second of all, the sourcing of the materials, the shipping, there's so much more that goes into it.
All right. So I was doing my research on you. I like to do my little due diligence and, trying to get as much information as I can on my guests. And some of the highlights, I guess, other than the impact that you guys are making, but are some of the big name stores that you guys are in. So you're in Bloomingdale's. What other stores are you in?
Well, we had been in Bloomingdale's. That was an exclusive partnership in
Okay.
the Santa Monica store. We're not there anymore, but we just got into Nordstrom nationwide.
Nationwide. All right. So
Yeah.
let's work backwards now. What did it take for you to get into the Bloomingdale's and the Nordstrom? How did you build this up to where these big chain stores could actually entertain your products?
There's a couple things. First of all, I like to joke, and then it's kind of not a joke, but you don't really sleep.
Yeah.
It's true, but I love it, and I can't
Rather
imagine
than be
doing anything else.
Yeah.
And at the same time, a lot of it is in the presentation.
Hmm.
I feel you have to present yourself as a professional for people to take you seriously. So even before I officially announced that I had started Della, I made sure that we had a very clean website that, had the right type of information, the right type of photographs, and also wanting to be taken seriously. I did make the conscious decision to be a business, a socially responsible business, rather than a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So figuring that out, and then, okay, what does a socially responsible business website look like? What does the marketing materials? And it helps for me because I'm a very visual, creative person.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is you have to pretty much, I think aesthetic has a lot to do with it, and also believing in yourself and like being tenacious, because I've had stores that, in November, they say, okay, yeah, we want to buy your product. And I literally have to email them every week
Yeah.
for 11, 12, 13, 14 weeks
To make
with
sure.
no response. And then suddenly on a Sunday at like 6 a.m., someone will be like, okay, we'll place that order now.
Yeah.
So you just really I think a lot of it has to do with looking like you have a good foundation, making that good foundation, and then just don't be afraid. You have to be pretty fearless and just persistent.
Now, you mentioned something about to be taken serious, you decided to become a for-profit, a social enterprise. Speak on that a little. Why did you make that decision, other than to become serious? But it has to be more than that. You could have started this as a nonprofit. This would have been a kick-ass nonprofit.
Well,
But there's a reason why you did this for-profit.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of reasons. We still could, based on our revenue and where the money goes, we could easily be registered as a nonprofit. But being in the fashion world, I really wanted to bring socially responsible fashion to the retail market. And I felt like the way to be taken seriously would be to have a legit business. Because nonprofits, a lot of the time, they do a whole lot of good, but I think that people don't take them as seriously.
Yeah.
As far as maybe the fashion world goes, or a real commodity that's like a, a have type of product, not
Yeah.
like a kitschy, like, oh, I'll buy this to make me feel good, but
Yeah.
like, oh, this MacBook case is made really well, like, and it's made in Ghana. Awesome, you
Yeah.
know? So that was one of the things. And also, I was really searching for solutions. I didn't want to be one of those Americans that came in, did my piece and kind of did it my way. I really researched a lot about what structure of business would help the people I'm working with in Ghana. And at the end of the day, nonprofit is charity. We're a business that we're promoting commerce,
Yeah.
and also naturally giving back by providing our team with money management skills, literacy classes, and stuff like that. Parts that I think should just be natural in a business
In any
anyway.
business, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. I think I say this almost every episode or in every interview I do. I love nonprofits. I work with plenty of them closely. But
mhm.
I think now is the day where the for profit, people like you inspire me. When I see people, entrepreneurs like you that are bringing a disruptive business plan to the market, you guys are doing something different, but at the same time it's for profit. That says a lot more. And that just goes to show how the world is changing in comparison to 15, 20 years ago, where more and more entrepreneurs are actually embedding in the core of their business a social impact. So I just love to hear you speak on that. Another question. Now we could go into the products a little bit, but I'm assuming that your best seller is it the MacBook
It
cases?
is the MacBook case. Yes,
All
the
right.
MacBook case is our bestseller.
So how did you come up with that? And what were some of the other products? How did you start? How did you test it? How did you know what was working, what wasn't working?
Well, I mean, it's hit or miss. Our hobo bag, the first bag that I started making, we still sell a very similar style. That sold right away. It's, a perfect beach spring market
Yeah.
bag. And as I started thinking about expanding the market, because being an entrepreneur, you could either stick and stay small or try to expand. And, for me, it had less to do with me and more about how can we employ more people.
Yeah.
So, what products do I feel like people would actually kind of can justify want like needing to buy? And for me, I started my business. I bought my little MacBook. I was really bummed that I could only choose between a black and a purple case. And I thought, wait, that's perfect. Like, how cool would it be? Like, Apple's totally this like fashion. I mean, technologically speaking, they're very fashion forward.
Yeah.
And I feel like the customers of those type of products are fashion forward as well and socially responsible and kind of these like more global thinkers. So actually, the MacBook and iPad cases were the second product I really had developed.
All right.
We developed other products. We developed messenger bags, wallets, those two, and clutch purses. All of those did well, but not enough to really sustain the business.
Did any just bomb that you said, "Oh my God, why do we put that out there?"
Yeah, see, it's all a learning process.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, it was kind of a surprise because our messenger bags, we had these really, like, they were solid on the outside. So I felt like, men and women would wear them. On the
Yeah.
inside, they kind of had this more tribal fabric, but like, they were cool.
Yeah.
Like, and for some reason, like, I think they had a higher price point and we didn't have the reputation at the time or something, but those didn't sell as well as I thought they would. And to me, they were a crazy high quality product. I still use mine 2 years later.
Yeah.
Fits everything perfectly. So that was a surprise, but it's a learning process and you have to learn to work with your customer. Otherwise you won't really succeed.
All right, let's continue to talk about the learning process. Let's talk about some of the challenges you faced. Like I could just imagine when you're getting them manufactured thousands and thousands of miles away in Ghana. What were some of the challenges? How did you break some of the the cultural barriers when,
It had been really challenging, and it still remains to be a little bit challenging. I'm fortunate enough to have an amazing production manager in Ghana who's a young businessman.
all right,
He has his own company, and he had befriended me, and he oversees everything. At this point, we do have a U.S. employee that's working over there as well, helping him manage. But for challenges, gosh, a lot from the fact that, they see me come in there, and they, meaning the community, somebody selling fabric, something like that, and, they try to give me the American price.
yeah,
Well, you can't do commerce at the American price.
yeah,
That's a big challenge. Just having a lot of people assume, I mean, because I've bankrolled this personally, and so having a lot of people out there assume you have more than you do,
yeah,
that's a challenge. A big challenge is actually time management and deadlines. From what I see in the community in Ghana that we work with, everyone's a very hard worker, but they're not used to the like American work ethic where you
yeah,
come in at 9, you leave
structure,
at 6. Yeah.
yeah,
So finding a solid team of people who were committed to coming in 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and yes, we pay them fairly, and they're on Social Security, and they get health, but finding people who are willing, who can put in that time, because we've had so many employees who just, leave for half a day, or,
yeah.
leave for a week, and it's been hard, but we've had to put our foot down and be like, okay, you can't come back to work, and set examples. And right now we're in a place though where we have a really solid team.
Awesome. That's great.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to, making sure that you have a solid team, people that can execute when need be.
Yeah.
So let's build up a little. So now I asked you what were some of the stores that you guys were in. And you told me about Nordstrom, and you told me that you were in Bloomingdale's. How did that Bloomingdale's opportunity come about? And how important is it to network? If you could mix those two into that one answer.
Oh boy, it's huge for me personally. Let's see, Bloomingdale's, I was lucky enough to have a friend who was a sales rep for a company in New York. He saw my products and said, oh, wow, my friend at Bloomingdale's, I think she'd really like these. I think she'd give it a shot. So I was fortunate enough to just be introduced to someone, and she totally, went for it and had faith in our products, and, so that was really lucky. That was a little bit more about who you know.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it's pretty much sourcing out,
Yeah.
being a good detective, finding out, who the buyer is, who the right buyer is, and then stalking them.
See, that's the reason why I asked you to mix both of those answers. Like, how did you get in Bloomingdale, and how important is networking? Because you're right. A lot of this is hard work. If you're going to start your business, it is a
Mhm.
lot of hard work. But I always tell people you got to leave the door a little bit open, just a
Oh,
little crack to let the magic slip in. Where, because you don't know how important the people that you meet every day can come back and take you to the next level. So
no,
it's,
that's true. A friend of a friend could, be in sales and have this one connection. And,
yeah,
people do naturally, I feel like people want to help.
yeah,
If they're like excited, even if you don't have a nonprofit or socially based business, if someone hears that, someone's young and working hard,
ambitious, yeah.
yeah, people want to help. And, it excites me to know one day I'll be in that position. So,
Definitely. I tell people all the time when I started this website, I have no real credentials for what I'm doing. I went to school for political science, not to be a journalist or a podcaster or a blogger. And the way how I started getting people on the site is just by networking, reaching out to
yeah.
people constantly. I think for the first episode, my first episode was Elker Bala from this company's called B Condoms. They're a socially aware condom company, and he was the only person to answer back. Like, I think I reached out to like 100 social entrepreneurs, but it didn't matter because I got that one person,
No, exactly. And
and
that's
now it's just build up. It just continues to build, and having a great network now helps me get other people on the program way much easier now.
I completely agree. I mean, and I also, even if they don't have to do with the socially responsible business
Yeah,
aspect, there are people in business that I meet with on almost a monthly basis. And, they just give me
just love to
advice,
help.
hearing from other people's mistakes, and their victories, their, little
That is,
failures and stuff. It helps, and you never know who they're going to know. And
you never
it's,
know.
you
Connect the
never know.
dots. All right,
Yeah.
so tell us about how did you get into Nordstrom?
So let's see. I don't even remember where I got that contact. Like, I think I found one person's contact,
Yeah,
and luckily, the people in Nordstrom are really nice. Like, you do get some people, like, they won't respond to
yeah.
you, they turn their nose up. But Nordstrom was really nice. And whoever's email I got, they said, hey, that's not my department, but, try this person.
There you go.
I did. I sent a pitch, pretty much. Hey, you guys are big supporters of Tom's, and I, you really like socially responsible products. Here's ours. I think it would do great for your customer. Check us out. And like, they immediately had really positive response. It did take about 5 to 6 months
Okay.
to build the relationship and get them to actually place an order.
Yeah.
The first month they were very interested and said that they would, but it took like persistence over 5 to 6 months to like get that order in hand and then move forward with it.
All right. That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit now, a little bit more about the impact that A, you're trying to create, and B, that you are currently creating. Because on the website it says the sale of every bag has a positive effect on the people of Hohoe. Did I pronounce that right? Hohoe?
Most people, it's funny. It's called Hohoe. It,
Hohoe.
it, it looks like ho-ho, but
Yeah.
it's pronounced Hohoe.
All right. Hohoe. So let's speak about the impact that you guys are creating out there.
hmm So right now we have, like I said, a team of about 16 women, fully employed. We are teaching them management skills. We're giving them skills training, not only courses and skills training and technical skills, but we're training them to train each other so that if for some reason we were to leave,
Yeah.
they would still have these leadership skills and also these highly technical skills that they usually don't get over there. On top of that, like I said, we give them educational courses, and right now we're doing savings, money savings, and then we just started a literacy class that the girls are really excited about 2 times a week. They stay an hour after work, and they're learning how to read and write.
Awesome.
Yeah, only one of our seamstresses knows how to, so she's passing on that, but 15 other women don't. They did ask for Social Security benefits in Ghana, so we honored that. And if you've been working for us for over 3 months, we give you that. Also, health care. We make sure everyone is set up with national health care. And then we do a program with a orphanage called Happy Kids, where once a week a couple of our seamstresses go and train these young 7 to 13-year-olds in basic sewing skills. So it's very interconnected, giving back in our little community. Ultimately, my hope would be to offer a lot of these money management classes, education courses to the greater community of Hawaii.
Yeah.
But right now we're starting small and pretty much perfecting it within our little network, and then we're going to branch out.
No, definitely. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. As you have on your website, states 1 out of 3 people live below the poverty line. So for you to
Yeah.
be able to create jobs out there is a great impact, especially in these times. I think it's phenomenal. I have a mantra of well, I have a deep belief. A lot of people complain that there aren't enough jobs. I complain that there aren't enough entrepreneurs. And what you're doing is bringing something great to the table. Let's go into tips. What other tips would you share with a social entrepreneur that's watching this program? I don't want to leave anything out. I try to get in as much as I possibly can.
I'd say be creative and don't listen to that little fear inside your head. Just go for it because it's always going to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, just the belt company, something that the owner, the father of this belt company always said, and this kind of pushed me through, I think, the first 6 months,
yeah.
was you shoot and then you aim.
Just let
You,
it go.
you just got to go for it. Like, I've tried to start other things, in the past 10 years before I started Della, and like to really succeed, I think you just need to go
Tell me
for
about
it.
that. I'm interested. I'd love to hear about, I guess, can I say failures? Have you tried and,
I've tried other things.
mm,
Gosh, early on, while I was actually doing wardrobe styling, I did attempt to start a type of like underwear company,
all right.
which, I was young. I didn't know everything that went into it. I had a really cool idea behind it, but, to really have the wherewithal to start a business, I didn't have. And, I hung on to that for about a year and it diminished. Another thing is I said I design jewelry, so I still do, not very often anymore, but I had my own jewelry line that I sold to local boutiques around here, and I weld, set stones, like really
Yeah,
cool stuff in my opinion. But to go after like my own craft as a business was really hard.
yeah,
Really, really hard. It made me feel more vulnerable. Also, I'd have to sell the rings at like, $500 to $1,000 each if I wanted to make any money because of
yeah.
all the hours it takes just to make one piece. So, although it's more of a craft and an art that I love, I realize for me personally, unless I was outsourcing, it wasn't a
It's not
smart
worth
business.
it. Yeah.
So I've just kind of had those things like I've always kind of like reached for things and like had this little entrepreneurial spirit. I never realized until I started Della and really just went for it.
It took off. Hey, that's what it's all about. Not being afraid to try, and
Hmm.
fail quick, as everybody
Yeah.
says. Just fail quick and just learn what you possibly can from these experiences, and just bring it to the next one. And with the energy I get from you is that you're really having fun while you're doing this. Like you really love what you do, and that's probably the most important thing. You have to have that passion. You have to. That has to be the driving force to wake you up every day to keep you going, or not only wake you up, but that has to be the driving force to keep you up
Yeah.
instead of going to
No,
sleep, Yeah.
no, it's very, very true. I love it. And every day there are challenges, but now I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, how am I going to work my way around this? And it kind of becomes more of a game as you get used to it. I was speaking to another entrepreneur this past weekend who's been in the business a while and is very successful, and he said, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
You just need to work with it and problem solve. And now for me, it's a little game I play with myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tina, am I leaving anything else out?
No, it was a fun interview.
Well, we thank you for coming on the program. We're going to make sure that our viewers check out your site.
Mhm.
So tell them the site one more time.
All right, it's DellaLA.com. That's DellaLA.com.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.